Hello, my friend. Welcome to my Fall Asleep channel, a place created for calm, rest, and gentle nights. If you enjoy peaceful stories like this, you are warmly invited to subscribe and return whenever you need to slow down. Now allow yourself to get comfortable, let the day fade away, and enjoy a quiet and pleasant rest. Let's begin. The first sensation is not movement, but quiet, a calm that does not arrive suddenly. It is already here, waiting. Space feels open but gentle, not wide in a way that pulls attention outward, wide in a way that allows everything to rest exactly where it is. There is no clear boundary between where awareness ends and where the surroundings begin. Everything feels evenly balanced, supported by stillness rather than held by force. Breathing continues naturally, slow and light, each inhale brief, each exhale unhurried. The space between breaths open and unoccupied, far away, so distant it barely feels separate. A soft band of light stretches across the darkness, not bright, not sharp, a quiet presence forming a slow arc from one side of awareness to the other. This is not something approaching. It has always been there, only now becoming gently noticeable. The Milky Way appears this way when nothing rushes it, not as a collection of stars, but as a continuous glow, a quiet river of light suspended across space, its edges softened by distance, its center slightly brighter, not demanding attention, simply present. This band exists because of position rather than motion, because of where observation happens to be. The light comes from billions of stars spread across a flat disk, seen from within rather than from afar. When seen from this angle, they blend together, forming a soft, luminous path across the dark. There is no need to picture individual stars. Most are too distant to separate. Their light has traveled for thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of years, moving patiently through space, unchanged by the passage of time, arriving now only because the conditions are calm enough to notice. The body remains at ease. There is no sense of floating upward or falling away, only suspension, a steady balance where no muscle needs to engage, shoulders relaxed, jaw resting easily, the face smooth and neutral. Even the idea of posture fades into comfort. The Milky Way does not move quickly. In fact, it barely seems to move at all. Changes occur on timescales so long they feel like stillness. The galaxy rotates slowly, completing a single turn over hundreds of millions of years, a pace gentle enough to remove any sense of urgency. Somewhere within this vast structure, far from the bright central regions, a quiet spiral arm curves gently outward. This is where familiar stars reside, not near the crowded core, but in a calmer neighborhood, where distances between stars are wide and motion remains subtle. Light here feels organized, not random. Gravity holds stars in stable paths, balancing inward pull with outward motion. This balance allows the galaxy to remain calm over long spans of time, neither collapsing inward nor drifting apart. The glow across space shifts almost imperceptibly, not moving past, but slowly rearranging itself as awareness drifts. The bright regions soften, dimmer patches emerge. Clouds of interstellar dust create darker lanes within the light, adding quiet contrast without sharp edges. These dust lanes are not empty. They are regions where future stars will one day form. Clouds of gas and dust moving slowly, cooling over immense periods of time, gathering quietly, never rushing. This process unfolds so gradually it feels like rest rather than change. Breathing remains steady, light, almost transparent. The pause between breaths feels wide and comfortable, as if time itself has slowed to match the rhythm. There is nothing to anticipate, nothing to follow closely, The Milky Way stretches on, not as a destination, but as a structure that simply exists, vast yet balanced, complex yet calm. Its presence does not demand awe or analysis. It allows quiet observation without pressure. Some stars within this band have long since faded, their light still traveling, arriving long after their source has changed. Others are just beginning, their light starting a journey that will continue far into the future. All of it happens without urgency, without announcement. The body remains fully supported within this calm. Sensations soften further. Awareness spreads evenly instead of focusing. There is no single point that holds attention for long. The galaxy continues to rest across the dark, steady, structured, patient. A quiet reminder that even vast systems can move slowly, can remain stable, can exist without noise, and the view holds gently, allowing everything to settle further as the long journey through the Milky Way begins, without haste, without direction, simply continuing at its own calm pace. The band of light begins to feel closer now, not because distance has changed, but because attention has softened enough to rest within it. The Milky Way no longer stretches across awareness as something separate. It feels like an environment, a quiet structure made of countless small lights held together by balance. Within this wide spiral, stars are not scattered randomly. They follow gentle paths around the galactic center, moving together in a slow rotation that takes hundreds of millions of years to complete. The pace is so gradual that motion feels like stillness, and stillness feels natural, closer to the center of the galaxy. The light grows denser, stars gather in greater numbers, their glow overlapping softly. Yet even there, nothing rushes. Gravity arranges everything patiently, holding each star in a stable orbit, creating order without effort. The central region is wrapped in thick clouds of gas and dust. These clouds soften the light, shaping what can be seen and what remains hidden. They are not barriers, only filters, allowing the galaxy to reveal itself slowly, layer by layer. Farther out along the spiral arms, space opens wider. Stars are separated by vast distances, many light years apart. Here, quiet dominates. The darkness between stars is not empty. It is filled with thin gas, faint particles, and time, plenty of time. New stars form in these regions, not suddenly, but through long periods of gentle gathering. Clouds of hydrogen cool and contract slowly, gravity drawing material inward until a soft glow begins. This process takes millions of years, unfolding without urgency, without sound. Older stars remain nearby, steady and calm, burning quietly through their fuel over billions of years, some larger, some smaller, each following its own life cycle at a pace that feels almost timeless. The light from all of these stars blends together, forming the familiar Milky Band, a result not of brightness, but of number. Billions of distant suns too close together to separate by sight, their combined glow softened by distance. Dust lanes cut gently through this light, darker paths winding through the galaxy like slow rivers. These lanes give the Milky Way its texture, its depth, its quiet variation. Without sharp contrast, the body remains deeply at ease. There is no sense of travel through space, only a feeling of being held within it. Muscles remain loose, breathing steady and light, awareness resting without effort. Time continues to behave differently here. Minutes and hours feel less distinct. Moments stretch and overlap, mirroring the slow rhythm of the galaxy itself. Nothing happens quickly enough to require attention. Somewhere along one of these spiral arms, a familiar star moves quietly through its orbit. taking more than 200 million years to complete a single loop around the galactic center, its movement so slow that generations pass unnoticed. This star is not unique in brightness or size. It is one among billions, balanced carefully within the larger structure, its light steady, predictable, calm. Around it, space remains orderly, planets follow stable paths, distances remain constant, everything arranged to minimize disturbance. The Milky Way continues its slow rotation, arms maintaining their graceful curve, stars drifting together without crowding, without separation. The glow across awareness shifts subtly, not fading, not brightening, simply rearranging as perspective changes, and the calm deepens naturally, not because anything ends, but because everything continues, steadily, quietly, allowing the journey through the Milky Way to unfold without haste, without effort, and without interruption. The spiral structure becomes easier to sense now, not as a shape to study, but as a slow pattern that everything follows. Arms of the galaxy curve gently outward, each one carrying stars, dust, and faint clouds of gas along paths that rarely change. This motion is not fast enough to feel like movement. It is slow enough to feel like rest. Within these arms, regions of quiet activity exist side by side with long stretches of calm. Some areas glow softly where new stars are slowly forming. Others remain dark and open, holding only thin traces of gas and time. Vast amounts of time. Star formation here is never sudden. Clouds gather patiently, cooling gradually, gravity guiding particles closer together over millions of years. Nothing collapses quickly. Nothing rushes toward completion. When a new star finally begins to shine, it does so gently, warming its surroundings without disruption. Older stars remain nearby, steady and unchanged, their light constant, their paths reliable. Many will continue exactly as they are long after this moment passes, long after awareness drifts elsewhere. The light that reaches here has traveled enormous distances. Some rays began their journey before the earliest cities on Earth existed. Others left their stars before the first written records. All of it arriving now only because space allows such patience. The Milky Way is vast, yet structured. Gravity provides quiet order, guiding stars along stable orbits, preventing chaos without force. This balance has endured for billions of years, not because it resists change, but because change unfolds slowly enough to remain calm, farther from the galactic center. The disk thins. Stars become more widely spaced. The darkness between them grows larger. Here, silence dominates, interrupted only by faint light traveling endlessly through space. The body remains fully supported within this quiet, breathing light and even, the pause between breaths wide and unoccupied, muscles resting without effort, awareness drifting gently without direction. The galaxy does not demand attention, it allows it. Nothing here needs to be understood to be felt. Patterns exist whether they are noticed or not. Motion continues whether it is followed or ignored. Dust and gas trace delicate paths through the spiral arms, shaping where future stars will one day appear. These materials move slowly, guided by gravity and time, assembling without urgency, without sound. The light across awareness shifts subtly again, not because anything moves past, but because perspective softens. Bright regions blur gently into darker ones. Edges dissolve, contrast fades, leaving a smooth and continuous glow. Time continues to stretch, moments overlapping quietly, mirroring the pace of the galaxy itself. Nothing arrives suddenly. Nothing ends abruptly. The Milky Way remains calm and enduring, a structure shaped by patience rather than force, motion slow enough to feel like stillness, complexity quiet enough to feel simple, and the journey continues deeper into this gentle spiral, carried not by speed, but by balance, allowing everything to remain at ease as the long drift through the galaxy goes on, steadily, softly, without haste. As awareness settles further into the galaxy, the sense of scale begins to soften, not shrinking, not expanding, simply becoming easier to hold. The Milky Way no longer feels vast in a way that overwhelms. It feels spacious in a way that allows everything to breathe. The spiral arms continue their quiet curve through space, each one carrying its slow procession of stars, some young and faintly blue, others older and warmer in tone, their colors muted by distance, blended gently into the soft glow of the band. Nothing here stands apart for long. Everything belongs to the same calm pattern. Between these stars, wide regions remain open and dark, not empty, but lightly filled with gas so thin it takes light years to notice. Hydrogen drifts patiently through these spaces, forming the raw material for future stars, gathering so slowly that time itself feels relaxed around it. The galaxy's rotation continues without sound, a smooth turning guided by gravity alone. No sudden shifts, no instability, just a steady movement that has remained consistent for billions of years. A pace so gentle that entire civilizations can rise and fade while a single orbit remains unfinished. Closer to the midplane of the galaxy, the light appears thicker. Layers of stars overlap, their combined glow forming the familiar brightness of the Milky Band. This brightness is not intensity, it is accumulation. Countless distant lights sharing the same line of sight. Arriving together after long journeys through space, dust weaves quietly through these regions, not blocking light completely, only softening it, creating darker streaks and subtle textures. These lanes add depth without sharp contrast, shaping the galaxy's appearance in a way that feels natural and unforced. The body remains deeply at rest. Awareness no longer checks for sensation. Breathing continues gently, each inhale light, each exhale slow and unhurried, the space between breaths wide and comfortable, matching the slow rhythm of the galaxy itself. Far from the center, the halo of the Milky Way extends outward, a sparse population of stars orbiting at great distances. Here, motion is even slower, paths wider, gravity still present but gentle. These stars move in long arcs that take immense spans of time to complete. Some of these outer stars are among the oldest in the galaxy, formed early, when the Milky Way itself was younger and less defined. They continue their quiet paths now, unchanged, witnesses to long eras of calm evolution. The light reaching awareness from these regions is faint, softened by distance, but steady. It carries no urgency, no message, only presence. Time feels increasingly fluid here. Moments overlap softly. There is no sense of beginning or end, only continuation, mirroring the galaxy's own rhythm. Slow, balanced, enduring. The glow of the Milky Way shifts subtly once more, bright regions easing into darker ones, edges dissolving into smooth gradients. The entire structure feels less like something observed and more like something gently inhabited. Nothing here demands understanding. The galaxy does not require interpretation. It simply exists, stable, patient, quietly complex, and the journey continues along these calm spiral paths, guided not by direction, but by balance, allowing awareness to drift naturally, deeper into the quiet order of the Milky Way, without haste, without effort, and without interruption. The presence of the galaxy feels steady now, no longer something being entered, but something already surrounding everything evenly. The Milky Way holds its structure quietly, not pressing outward, not pulling inward, simply remaining balanced across immense distances. Stars continue their slow paths along curved orbits, each one guided gently by gravity, never colliding, never drifting away. Their motion unfolds over spans of time so long that stillness and movement feel indistinguishable. This is order without effort, stability without force. Light travels patiently through the disk, passing between stars, through thin clouds of gas, across wide open regions. Some of it has crossed thousands of light years to arrive here, unchanged by the journey, arriving softly, without announcement. Within the spiral arms, clusters of stars remain loosely bound, sharing common motion, moving together through the galaxy like quiet neighborhoods. Their distances remain vast, yet their paths stay aligned, creating gentle groupings without crowding. Dust continues to shape what is visible, not hiding, only softening, absorbing certain wavelengths of light, allowing others to pass. This subtle filtering gives the Milky Way its layered appearance, depth without sharpness, complexity without tension. The body remains fully at ease. There is no sensation asking for attention. Breathing stays light and natural, each breath flowing without effort. The pauses between breaths wide and unoccupied, matching the slow rhythm of the stars. Farther out, beyond the main disk, the galactic halo extends quietly, a faint sphere of stars and dark matter surrounding the visible galaxy. Here, stars move along long, gentle paths, their orbits tilted, their journeys measured in immense spans of time. Dark matter itself remains unseen, yet its presence is felt through balance. It adds stability to the galaxy, helping stars remain in their paths, its influence quiet, constant, without interaction. Another layer of calm order supporting the whole. The glow of the Milky Way remains consistent, not brightening, not fading, simply rearranging subtly as perspective shifts. Light and shadow blending into smooth transitions. Nothing sudden, nothing abrupt. Time continues to loosen its structure. Minutes and hours feel less distinct. Awareness rests in a wider sense of continuity, mirroring the galaxy's own slow evolution. Change happening gently enough to feel like rest. Nothing here reaches an end point. Stars continue to form. Others continue to burn steadily. Some slowly cool, all following paths shaped by balance rather than urgency. The galaxy does not hurry its processes. It allows them to unfold naturally. The Milky Way remains calm and enduring, a structure shaped by patience, supported by gravity, softened by distance. Its vastness gentle rather than overwhelming, and the journey continues through this quiet spiral, carried by steady motion and wide stillness, allowing awareness to drift comfortably within the galaxy's slow rhythm, without haste, without effort, simply continuing. The sense of motion fades further into something almost unnoticeable, not because movement has stopped, but because it has become perfectly matched to stillness. The Milky Way no longer feels like a place being crossed. It feels like a quiet framework, holding everything in calm alignment. Stars continue their steady paths without deviation, each orbit shaped by gravity and time rather than speed. Their movement so gradual that centuries pass unnoticed, their light steady and dependable. Many of these stars have burned calmly for billions of years and will continue to do so long after attention drifts elsewhere. Between them, wide regions of space remain open and calm. Thin gas drifts so sparsely that it takes light years to gather any noticeable change. This gentle emptiness is not absence. It is space allowing balance, allowing motion to remain smooth and uninterrupted. The light that fills the Milky Band arrives layered and softened, rays crossing through dust, through gas, through distance, blending gently together. No single source dominates. Brightness comes from accumulation rather than intensity, a quiet harmony formed by countless distant suns. Nebula regions exist within this structure, not as dramatic events, but as slow gatherings of material, clouds cooling gradually, particles drawing closer over immense spans of time. Star birth here is a patient process, unfolding without sound, without sudden shifts, warmth building slowly, light appearing gently. Older stars nearby remain unchanged, their fusion steady, their glow constant. Some have long since stabilized, burning quietly in predictable cycles, offering continuity rather than contrast. The body remains deeply at rest. Awareness no longer settles on sensation. Breathing flows naturally, light and slow. The pause between breaths wide and easy. Nothing asks to be adjusted. Nothing needs to be noticed. Farther along the spiral arms, the density of stars thins. Darkness between them grows wider. Here, motion feels even slower. Gravity still present, but gentle. Paths wider, changes subtler. This outer calm supports the inner structure, adding balance without tension. The Milky Way's shape holds steady across time, not fixed, but evolving so slowly that the change feels like permanence. Arms stretch, stars migrate gently, new generations form, older ones fade, all without disrupting the calm order of the whole. Light and shadow continue their soft interplay, dust shaping visibility, distance smoothing edges. Nothing appears sharp or demanding. Everything blends naturally into its surroundings. Time feels broad here, not divided into moments, but experienced as continuity. Awareness drifts without tracking progress, mirroring the galaxy's own long cycles. Where a single orbit spans hundreds of millions of years, nothing here signals an ending. Nothing pushes toward a beginning. Processes simply continue, balanced and quiet. The Milky Way remains a calm presence, structured yet gentle, vast yet steady. Its slow rhythm inviting awareness to remain unhurried, and the journey carries on through this quiet spiral, supported by gravity, softened by distance, unfolding naturally, without effort, without destination, simply continuing at the pace of the galaxy itself. The glow of the galaxy feels more evenly distributed now, no region drawing more attention than another, brightness and darkness resting together in quiet balance. The Milky Way no longer appears as a band overhead. It feels like a surrounding presence, gently layered, calm in every direction. Stars remain in motion, but their paths are so slow they feel timeless, each orbit unfolding over spans of time that allow calm to remain undisturbed. Gravity guides without force, holding everything in steady alignment, preventing chaos simply by existing. Light continues its patient travel, crossing immense distances without losing its character. Some of it began its journey before the earliest life on Earth, arriving now without urgency, unchanged by the passing of centuries. This light does not rush. It has learned how to wait. The spiral arms maintain their gentle curve, not rigid, not fixed, flexible enough to evolve slowly. Stars drift subtly within them, migrating over long periods, never breaking the overall harmony. The structure remains calm because change happens gradually. Dust and gas continue their quiet work, shaping where light passes freely and where it softens. These materials move slowly, guided by gravity and time, assembling without sound, preparing regions where future stars will one day begin, not as events, but as gentle transitions. The body remains fully supported. Sensations have softened almost completely. Breathing flows on its own, light and steady, each exhale releasing without effort. The space between breaths wide and peaceful, far beyond the visible disk. The galaxy's influence extends quietly, unseen mass-shaping motion, holding stars in their paths. This unseen structure adds stability, allowing the visible galaxy to remain calm and enduring. Time continues to feel expansive, not measured in seconds or minutes, but experienced as continuity. Awareness no longer tracks progression. It rests comfortably within the slow rhythm of the galaxy. The light across awareness shifts subtly again, bright regions blending into darker ones, edges dissolving, contrast softening. Everything appears smooth and unhurried. Nothing interrupts the calm. Stars continue their quiet lives, some growing warmer, others cooling slowly, each following a natural cycle that unfolds over billions of years. These changes occur without disruption, without urgency, simply as part of the galaxy's steady evolution. The Milky Way remains balanced and patient, a structure shaped by gravity, softened by distance, sustained by time. Its vastness gentle rather than overwhelming, and the journey continues through this calm spiral. Awareness drifting naturally within the galaxy's slow movement, supported by quiet order, guided by balance rather than direction, allowing everything to remain at ease as the Milky Way carries on, steadily, softly, without haste. The galaxy's quiet order feels fully established now, not as something being discovered, but as something that has always been present. The Milky Way holds its shape without effort. Stars, dust, and faint light arranged in a balance that does not need correction. Motion here is subtle and constant. Stars continue their long paths around the center, each orbit guided by gravity and time, their pace so slow that generations pass unnoticed. This movement does not disturb the calm, it sustains it. Light flows through the spiral arms like a soft current, passing between stars, through thin clouds of gas, across open regions where darkness feels spacious rather than empty. Some of this light began traveling long before familiar histories began, reaching this moment quietly, without change, within the galaxy's disk. Temperature and density vary gently. Warmer regions glow slightly more. Cooler areas rest in softer darkness. These differences shape the appearance of the Milky Way without creating contrast that demands attention. Everything blends smoothly into the whole. Dust continues to play its quiet role, absorbing and scattering light, shaping the galaxy's texture. Its presence is subtle, yet essential, giving depth without sharpness, layers without edges. The body remains deeply settled. Awareness no longer checks for comfort. Breathing continues softly, each inhale light, each exhale long and releasing. The pauses between breaths wide and calm, matching the slow rhythm of the stars. Farther along the spiral arms, star clusters remain loosely bound, groups of stars sharing similar paths, drifting together through the galaxy. Their distances remain vast, yet their motion stays aligned, creating quiet neighborhoods that endure for millions of years. Some stars in these groups will change slowly over time, growing warmer, cooling, expanding, contracting, all without disturbance. Their evolution unfolds so gradually that calm is never broken. The central regions of the galaxy remain distant, their light softened by dust and distance. Nothing pulls awareness inward, nothing pushes it away. The balance remains even across the entire structure. Time continues to feel broad and unstructured. Moments overlap gently. Awareness rests without urgency. There is no sense of progression toward anything, only continuation, mirroring the galaxy's own long cycles. The glow across space shifts subtly once more, not because anything moves quickly, but because perspective continues to soften. Bright regions ease into darker ones. Edges dissolve into smooth gradients. Nothing here signals an ending. Nothing suggests a beginning. Stars form. Stars evolve. Light travels. Gravity holds. All within a calm framework that does not rush any process. The Milky Way remains steady and enduring, shaped by patience rather than force. Its vastness gentle, its complexity quiet, and the journey carries on through this balanced spiral. Awareness drifting comfortably within the galaxy's slow rhythm, supported by order, softened by distance, continuing naturally, without effort, without destination, allowing the calm of the Milky Way to remain unbroken. The sense of scale continues to soften, not shrinking, not expanding, simply becoming easier to hold without effort. The Milky Way no longer feels immense in a way that stretches awareness. It feels spacious in a way that allows everything to settle comfortably within it. Stars remain evenly distributed across this quiet structure, none calling for attention, none fading entirely, their light steady and patient, each following a path shaped by gravity rather than speed. Motion unfolds so slowly that it feels like rest rather than travel. Between these stars, wide regions remain calm and open. Gas drifts so thinly that change requires millions of years. Hydrogen atoms move gently through the dark, gathering only when conditions allow. Nothing forces their movement. Nothing interrupts their pace. Light continues to arrive layered and softened. Some rays crossing the galaxy for tens of thousands of years, others far longer, all arriving without urgency, unchanged by the time they have traveled. This light does not rush. It simply continues. The spiral arms remain flexible and patient. Stars drift within them slowly, migrating over long spans, never disrupting the overall balance. The structure evolves, but at a pace so gentle that calm remains uninterrupted. Dust continues to shape visibility, softening bright regions, creating subtle lanes and textures. These variations add depth without contrast, interest without intensity. Everything blends naturally into the surrounding quiet. The body remains fully at ease. Sensations have softened into neutrality. Breathing flows on its own, light and steady, each exhale releasing gently, the pauses between breaths wide and comfortable. Far beyond the visible glow, the galaxy's influence extends quietly, unseen mass guiding motion, holding stars in their orbits. This unseen presence adds stability, allowing the visible galaxy to remain calm and enduring. Time feels increasingly open, not divided into moments, but experienced as continuity. Awareness rests without tracking change, mirroring the galaxy's own slow cycles. Where a single orbit spans hundreds of millions of years, the glow across awareness shifts subtly again. Bright regions easing into darker ones, edges dissolving, everything appearing smooth and unhurried. Nothing interrupts the calm. Stars continue their quiet lives, some warming, some cooling, all evolving gradually, never breaking the steady rhythm of the whole. Change exists here, but it unfolds gently enough to feel like stillness. The Milky Way remains balanced and patient, shaped by gravity, softened by distance, sustained by time, its vastness calm, its order quiet, and the journey continues through this gentle spiral. awareness drifting naturally within the galaxy's slow movement, supported by balance rather than direction, allowing everything to remain at ease as the Milky Way carries on, steadily, softly, without haste. The calm remains unchanged as awareness rests comfortably within the galaxy's slow rhythm. Nothing new enters the scene, nothing leaves it. The Milky Way holds its quiet structure without effort, stars, dust, and faint light arranged in a balance that feels complete. Motion continues gently beneath the surface of stillness. Stars follow their long orbits without deviation, gravity guiding them patiently, their paths unfolding over spans of time so long that change feels almost theoretical. Here, stability is created by slowness. Light continues its steady passage through space, drifting between stars, through thin clouds of gas, across wide regions where darkness feels open and calm. Some of this light has traveled for thousands of generations, arriving now without any sign of haste. The spiral arms remain softly curved, not fixed, not rigid, flexible enough to allow gradual evolution. Stars migrate slowly within them, their positions shifting gently over millions of years, never disturbing the overall harmony. Dust and gas remain quietly active, shaping where light passes freely and where it softens. These materials move slowly, guided by gravity and time, assembling and dispersing without sound, without urgency. The body remains deeply settled. Awareness no longer checks for comfort. Breathing continues softly, each inhale light, each exhale long and unhurried, the pauses between breaths wide and peaceful, matching the slow pace of the galaxy. Farther out, beyond the brighter regions, the galaxy thins into quieter darkness. Stars become fewer, distances grow wider, motion slows even further. Here, calm feels especially pronounced, as if space itself has learned how to rest. Time continues to feel broad and unstructured. Moments overlap gently. Awareness does not track sequence or duration. It rests within continuity, reflecting the galaxy's own slow cycles, where nothing happens quickly enough to require attention. The glow across awareness shifts subtly once more, bright regions blending into darker ones, edges dissolving into smooth gradients. Nothing appears sharp, nothing interrupts the calm. Stars continue their quiet lives, some gradually changing, others remaining steady for billions of years, all evolving without disruption, their changes too slow to disturb the balance of the whole. The Milky Way remains calm and enduring, shaped by gravity, softened by distance, sustained by time, its vastness gentle, its order quiet, and the journey continues through this balanced spiral. Awareness drifting naturally within the galaxy's steady rhythm, supported by quiet structure, softened by space, continuing without effort, without destination, allowing the calm of the Milky Way to remain unbroken. The sense of presence remains steady and unbroken. Awareness no longer moves toward anything. It simply rests within the slow order of the galaxy. The Milky Way feels less like a scene and more like a constant background, something that holds everything quietly in place. Stars continue their long paths without deviation, each one guided by gravity along curves so wide they feel almost straight. Their motion unfolds over spans of time that smooth out any sense of urgency. Here, change is gentle enough to feel like stillness. Light continues its patient travel, crossing the disk of the galaxy, slipping between stars, passing through faint clouds of gas. Some of it has crossed distances so vast that its origin no longer matters. It arrives softly, without announcement, simply becoming part of the glow within the spiral arms. Regions of star formation remain quietly active. Clouds gather slowly, cooling over immense periods, gravity drawing material inward with careful balance. When light finally begins, it does so gently, warming its surroundings without disturbance. Nothing here ever begins suddenly. Older stars nearby remain steady and calm, their light constant, their internal processes stable. Many will continue exactly as they are for billions of years, offering continuity rather than contrast. Dust lanes continue to shape the galaxy's appearance, winding softly through the light, creating darker paths that add depth without sharpness. These lanes are not interruptions, they are part of the structure, adding quiet texture to the whole. The body remains fully at rest. Awareness no longer settles on sensation. Breathing continues naturally, light and slow, each exhale easing gently into the quiet. The pauses between breaths wide and comfortable, far beyond the visible band. The galaxy's influence extends into regions where stars are few and widely spaced. Here, motion slows even further. Paths widen. Gravity remains present but gentle. Everything feels settled into long-lasting balance. Time feels increasingly irrelevant, not stretched, not compressed, simply unnecessary. Moments no longer arrive or depart. They exist together, layered softly, mirroring the galaxy's own slow cycles. The glow across awareness shifts subtly again, not because anything moves quickly, but because perception continues to soften. Bright regions blur gently into darker ones. Edges dissolve, leaving smooth transitions. Stars continue their quiet evolution, some gradually changing temperature, others remaining stable, all unfolding at a pace that never disturbs the calm of the whole. Change exists here, but it never interrupts. The Milky Way remains steady and enduring, a structure shaped by gravity, softened by distance, sustained by time, its vastness calm, its complexity quiet, and the journey continues within this gentle spiral. Awareness drifting naturally through the galaxy's slow rhythm, supported by balance rather than direction, allowing everything to remain at ease as the Milky Way carries on, steadily, softly, without haste. The quiet continues to hold without effort. Nothing signals a shift or a transition. Awareness remains gently placed within the galaxy's slow order. The Milky Way feels settled into a steady presence, neither distant nor close, simply there. Stars keep their patient motion, following curved paths shaped by gravity and time. Their movement unfolds over spans so long that stillness and motion feel indistinguishable. Nothing accelerates, nothing drifts away. Balance remains constant. Light flows softly through the disk, passing between stars, through thin clouds of gas, across open regions where darkness feels calm rather than empty. Some of this light has traveled for so long that its origin has faded from relevance. It arrives quietly, without urgency, becoming part of the gentle glow. The spiral arms maintain their broad curves, flexible and enduring. Stars drift within them slowly, migrating over millions of years, their gradual motion never disturbing the overall structure. The galaxy evolves, but at a pace that allows calm to remain uninterrupted. Dust continues its subtle work, absorbing and scattering light, shaping soft lanes and textures across the glow. These variations add depth without sharp contrast, interest without intensity, everything blending naturally into the whole. The body remains deeply at ease. Awareness no longer checks for comfort. Breathing continues lightly, each inhale brief, each exhale long and releasing. The space between breaths wide and undisturbed, far from the brighter regions. The galaxy thins into quiet darkness. Stars become fewer. Distances widen. Motion slows even further. Here, calm feels especially complete, as if space itself has settled into rest. Time feels open and unstructured. Moments overlap gently. Awareness does not track sequence or duration. It rests within continuity, reflecting the galaxy's own slow cycles, where nothing happens quickly enough to demand attention. The glow across awareness shifts subtly once more, bright regions easing into darker ones, edges dissolving into smooth gradients. Nothing interrupts the calm. Nothing draws focus. Stars continue their quiet lives, some slowly changing, others remaining stable for billions of years, all unfolding without disturbance. Their evolution too gradual to disrupt the balance of the whole. The Milky Way remains calm and enduring, shaped by gravity, softened by distance, sustained by time, its vastness gentle, its order quiet, and the journey carries on within this balanced spiral, awareness drifting naturally through the galaxy's steady rhythm, supported by quiet structure, softened by space, continuing without effort, without destination, allowing the calm of the Milky Way to remain unbroken. The calm holds its shape without effort. Awareness rests gently inside it. Nothing new appears. Nothing needs to change. The Milky Way feels less like something observed and more like a quiet condition that everything shares. Stars continue along their wide arcs, paths shaped long ago by gravity and time, their motion steady and predictable, unfolding so slowly that it never disturbs the surrounding stillness. Here, movement does not create tension. It preserves balance. Light drifts endlessly through the galaxy, passing from one region to another without interruption. Some of it has crossed the spiral arms for tens of thousands of years. Other light began its journey far earlier, all of it arriving softly, without urgency, without announcement. Within the disk, gentle variations in brightness remain. Denser regions glow slightly more. Open areas rest in softer darkness. These differences feel natural, not contrasting, simply part of the galaxy's quiet texture. Dust continues to soften the light, creating subtle lanes and layered depth, never blocking completely, never allowing sharp edges. Everything remains smooth, gradual, calm. The body remains fully settled. Awareness no longer checks position or sensation. Breathing continues lightly and evenly, each exhale easing gently into the quiet. The pauses between breaths wide and unoccupied, far beyond the visible glow. The galaxy's influence extends outward, unseen mass guiding motion, holding stars in their paths. This quiet support remains constant, never announcing itself, yet shaping everything gently. Time feels increasingly unnecessary. Moments no longer feel sequential. They overlap softly, existing together without order, reflecting the galaxy's own slow rhythm, where change unfolds over spans too long to interrupt calm. The glow across awareness shifts again, barely perceptible, bright regions blending into darker ones, edges dissolving into smooth gradients, nothing sharp, nothing demanding. Stars continue their quiet evolution, some slowly aging, others remaining steady, all unfolding at a pace that never disrupts the balance of the whole. Change exists here, but it feels like continuity rather than transition. The Milky Way remains steady and enduring, a structure shaped by patience, guided by gravity, softened by distance, sustained by time, and the journey continues gently within this vast spiral, awareness drifting naturally through the galaxy's calm order, supported by balance rather than direction. allowing everything to remain at ease as the Milky Way carries on, steadily, softly, without haste. The sense of calm remains complete and uninterrupted. Nothing signals progress or arrival. Awareness rests comfortably within the galaxy's slow and steady order. The Milky Way feels settled into a quiet permanence, something that does not ask to be followed or understood, only allowed to exist. Stars maintain their gentle paths, each one tracing a curve shaped by gravity over immense spans of time. Their movement so gradual it blends seamlessly into stillness. Here, motion never feels separate from rest. It feels like a natural extension of it. Light continues its long passage through space, drifting between stars, through thin gas, across wide regions where darkness feels open and calm. Some of this light began its journey before familiar histories began, reaching this moment softly, unchanged, patient. The spiral arms hold their form without rigidity. Stars migrate within them slowly, shifting positions over millions of years, never disrupting the overall balance. The structure evolves, but gently enough that calm remains undisturbed. Dust remains quietly present, softening light, shaping texture, creating depth without contrast. These subtle variations give the galaxy its layered appearance, calm and smooth, without sharp boundaries. The body remains deeply at ease. Awareness no longer seeks sensation. Breathing continues naturally, light and slow, each exhale releasing gently, the space between breaths wide and unoccupied, matching the galaxy's own rhythm. Farther from the brighter regions, space becomes quieter still. Stars thin out, distances widen, motion slows even more. Here, calm feels especially complete, as if space itself has settled into a deep and lasting rest. Time feels broad and undefined. Moments overlap gently. Awareness does not track duration. It rests within continuity, mirroring the galaxy's slow cycles, where change unfolds so gradually it never interrupts stillness. The glow across awareness shifts subtly once again, bright regions easing into darker ones, edges dissolving. Nothing draws attention, nothing requires focus. Stars continue their quiet lives, some slowly changing, others remaining stable for billions of years, all unfolding without disturbance, their evolution woven gently into the larger calm. The Milky Way remains steady and enduring, shaped by gravity, softened by distance, sustained by time, its vastness gentle, its order quiet, and the journey continues within this calm spiral. Awareness drifting naturally through the galaxy's slow rhythm, supported by balance rather than direction, allowing everything to remain at ease as the Milky Way carries on, steadily and softly. The calm continues without effort. Awareness remains gently placed within the galaxy's slow rhythm. Nothing signals a change. Nothing asks to be noticed. The Milky Way feels like a quiet constant, present in every direction, steady and unassuming. Stars continue along their wide and patient paths, gravity guiding them gently through curved orbits that unfold over immense spans of time. Their motion is so slow it feels almost symbolic, movement and stillness blending together without conflict. Light drifts endlessly through the spiral arms, passing between stars, through thin clouds of gas, across wide regions where darkness feels open and calm. Some of this light began its journey long before familiar histories existed, arriving now without urgency, unchanged, simply continuing. Within the galaxy's disk, subtle variations remain. Denser regions glow softly. Open areas rest in deeper shadow. These differences do not compete, they complement. forming a smooth and balanced texture across the whole. Dust continues to soften the glow, shaping gentle lanes and layered depth, never blocking completely, never creating sharp contrast. Everything remains gradual, calm, and evenly blended. The body remains fully settled. Awareness no longer checks position or sensation. Breathing flows naturally, light and slow, each exhale easing gently into the quiet. The pauses between breaths wide and undisturbed, far beyond the visible band. The galaxy's influence extends quietly outward, unseen mass guiding motion, holding stars in their paths. This quiet support remains constant, never announcing itself, yet shaping everything gently. Time feels increasingly unnecessary. Moments no longer feel sequential. They overlap softly, existing together without order, reflecting the galaxy's own slow cycles, where change unfolds so gradually it never disturbs the calm. The glow across awareness shifts again, barely perceptible, bright regions blending into darker ones, edges dissolving into smooth gradients. Nothing sharp, nothing demanding. Stars continue their quiet evolution, some slowly aging, others remaining steady, all unfolding at a pace that never disrupts the balance of the whole. Change exists here, but it feels like continuity rather than transition. The Milky Way remains steady and enduring, shaped by patience, guided by gravity, softened by distance, sustained by time, and the journey continues gently within this vast spiral. Awareness drifting naturally through the galaxy's calm order, supported by balance rather than direction, allowing everything to remain at ease as the Milky Way carries on, steadily, softly, without haste. The glow of the Milky Way no longer feels like something to observe. It feels like something complete, settled into its own quiet balance. Stars continue their slow paths. Light continues its patient travel, but none of it asks for attention anymore. It simply exists. Awareness rests easily within this calm structure. No sense of distance, no sense of direction. The galaxy holds everything gently, gravity steady, motion slow, time wide and unhurried. Breathing remains soft and natural, each breath flowing without effort, the space between breaths open and undisturbed, matching the long rhythm of the stars. The spiral arms continue their gentle curve, dust and light blended smoothly together, change unfolding so slowly it feels like rest. Nothing begins, nothing ends. Processes simply continue, balanced and quiet. The Milky Way remains patient and enduring, shaped by gravity, softened by distance, sustained by time, its vastness calm, its order steady, and there is nothing more to follow now, nothing more to move through. The journey has settled into stillness, where motion and rest feel the same. The galaxy continues on its own, quietly, steadily, while everything remains exactly as it is.